Hi guys, so sometimes you need to listen no matter how infuriating it is. You need to listen to members of the House of Lords speak on issues like the cost of living crisis to fully understand the Tory mindset. What I mean by this is when somebody is a member of the unelected chamber, they're freer to speak their mind without the fear of upsetting voters. Yes, they still maintain loyalty to the party and want the elected wing to gain power, but their filter is somewhat thinner than an MP's. Here, Lord Moylan, the Brexiteer, sorry, just a side note, how is it that you can predict a person's position on the cost of living crisis by their stance on Brexit? Anyway, Daniel Moylan, who can claim up to £300 a day, suggested that a one-off £120 will do little to help people struggling. Here he spoke to Tory fanboy Andrew Pearce.
There's one obvious proposal. In that poll, I think it showed 73% of the country support the windfall tax on the energy companies, Lord Moylan. We know the head of BP actually said a windfall tax would not make any real tangible difference to their investment plans, whether it's in the North Sea or alternative form of energy. Why is there this resistance in the government to something which is sensible, popular, and could deliver about £120, £130 per family?
Yeah, well, it could, and there is a degree of resistance because it's always a bad principle to introduce retrospective taxes on people. When businesses plan, they know what the tax rate is going to be, and it does affect their planning. And if you come back later and take some tax out of them, it's a very unconservative thing to do.
Okay, well, first of all, it was done before, back in 1981, by Margaret Thatcher's Chancellor. It was a levy, it wasn't called a windfall tax, but it was a levy on banks to the value of £400 million. So you can't say it's an unconservative thing to do here. But the point here is that this is money this is excessive profits. This is massive profits we're talking about. This is not, okay, we're going to tax every company that has made a profit. These are excessive profits we're talking about. So if you say there's going to be a windfall tax on massive profits, then the companies already know that. It's not some sort of hidden thing. They have a feeling, okay, if we're making huge amounts of money during a cost of living crisis, it's likely we're going to have to pay a windfall tax. And, the energy companies have come out and said, it's not going to affect our investment. Companies invest if they believe they can make a profit. These companies have made a profit. So saying we're going to tax part of that profit is not going to stop them from investing. They've already invested. And also, if they believe they can make a profit in the future, they're going to continue to invest. This windfall tax is neither here nor there when it comes to investment.
It's a natural reluctance, but it may be something the government decides to do, and if the companies are relaxed about it, they could just send in checks anyway.
This sounds like a sort of throwaway remark, but this is fundamental Tory ideology. They can send in checks if they want. This idea that taxation should be voluntary. We should, and these are the people who have been overseeing the rise in food banks. The food banks are doing the job of the government. If rich people want to help out, well, they can sign a check. They can write a check and send it into the Exchequer, to the Inland Revenue, whatever. This is the whole fundamental core belief of the Conservative Party. Small government, let rich companies or rich individuals look after the poor. And here he just let the cat out of the bag here by saying, yeah, well, if these energy companies are making lots of money, well, they can write a check. No, they need to be taxed. The government need to step in and say, you're making massive profits at the moment at the expense of the public. We're going to tax you over that.
It may be something that the government decides to do. It isn't going to be a panacea. Even if you had £120 one-off, this is not £120 a week, £120 a year. This is a one-off £120. And even if it got through to every household in the country, it would have an effect. Of course, it's better than nothing, but it is not going to be the solution. And I think although Labour has batted away on this, if the government does have a windfall tax, Labour's going to have to think very seriously about more sustainable, durable solutions than simply a one-off 100 quid, 120 quid, important though that will be in some households.
This is a guy who can claim up to £300 a day in expenses. And he's turning this into a political football. The idea that, oh, look, if the Labour Party come up with this windfall tax, then what are they going to come up with after? And yes, it might help out a few people, but it's not going to really make any difference. There are people who cannot feed their families at the moment. There are people who have decided to get on buses in order to keep warm because they can't heat their homes. And this guy is talking about, well, you know, £120 isn't going to do very much to help them out. Yes, in a sense, he's correct. It's not going to do a lot. But what has his party done in return? What are they doing to help people at the moment? Diddly squat. The reason many people are in this situation is because of Tory policies. Cutting welfare benefits, making it more difficult for ordinary people to survive. And his response, well, you know, £120 isn't going to cut it. And what is your alternative? What are you putting on the table here, Lord Moylan? What is your solution to the cost of living crisis? Because we're not hearing anything. And it's very easy for you to say £120 is nothing when you can claim £300 a day. These are the people who have their hands on the levers of power. Complete and utter disconnect from the reality of ordinary people. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.